Today's Cowboys Report is made possible by Roan. Upgrade your closet and use promo code CHATSPORTS for 20% off over at roan.com/chatsports. Tell you more about them later on in today's show, like about the polo I'm wearing. But we haven't listened a little bit. Time to do it again. Whoever comments the most on today's show gets a shout out in a future video. Let's say it's the Sunday one. Whoever comments the most will get that shout out. You can comment whatever it is. You can just type in 1, 2, 3 all the way down to 1,000 or whatever. Previous times we've done this, you got to do a couple hundred comments to get there. Whoever does it the most gets a shout out on a future video. Let's move on to the idea of signing L'Jarius Sneed, as Tony Pauline, who now writes for Sportskeeda or whatever it's pronounced. The Cowboys are a top team that could pursue Sneed, as I kind of merge those two words together. This got traction because the NFL aggregate accounts on Twitter/X have been reporting it. There's a lot to get into here. Sneed is going to be among the top NFL free agents. I'd be surprised if he wasn't franchise tagged by the Chiefs or a long-term deal gets reached, because Sneed's tag is going to cost around $18.4 million, significantly less than what the Chris Jones franchise tag will cost. I think it'd be easier for the Chiefs to tag Sneed and then work out a long-term deal with Jones as opposed to the opposite there. Now, here's what Pauline reported. There was talk during the Senior Bowl week that the Chiefs could place the franchise tag on Sneed this offseason, a move that costs around $19 million. Again, we gave the actual number. If he hits the open market, expectations are Sneed will sign a long-term contract that averages around $18.5 million annually, just under the tag amount. If the Chiefs can't sign Sneed in the offseason, where could he land? Keep an eye on the Atlanta Falcons, Las Vegas Raiders, and the Dallas Cowboys. I want to be clear on this. Pauline always does this. This is the single biggest offender of the, I'm going to link the Cowboys to some player, even though it's not true. He is also a constant, Jerry Jones wants to make a splash report. It's just not accurate. Sneed's an awesome football player. Don't get me wrong on that front. In an ideal world, I'd love to get him in Dallas, but we're not really operating with reality here. I don't think throwing a bag at a very good corner, one that is awesome, really makes that much sense for Dallas. And Sneed is really good. You saw it in the Super Bowl, right? He and Trent McDuffie were an awesome 1-2 combo for that defense. 51% completion rate, 2 INTs, 14 PBUs, didn't allow a TD all year. He's also probably going to command more than what Pauline reported. Like this is a number one caliber corner who's a fringe all-pro caliber player. He's going to get $19 million. He might get $20 million if you actually hit the open market. Because a team like the Raiders or a team like the Commanders, teams that have this giant open cap space, can throw money in that direction. Dallas is already paying Trayvon Diggs. He's not going anywhere. DaRon Bland is not that far away from getting his own contract extension. So if you were to sign Sneed, you're saying, yeah, we don't view Bland as a long-term piece anymore. And then you're kind of moving on from him in the not-too-distant future. I'm not sure that's the Cowboys' plan, given the way they always operate. I would like to be wrong here. It'd be really fun, but my hopes are not up. So name a free agent who you want to sign. Any free agent out there, sound off for me in the comments. That's the pinned comment, actually, of today's video. The outcome's here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Go vote. Let's talk this idea of hiring Steve Wilks. The Niners fired him on Wednesday in what was a somewhat surprising move, and especially when Mike Zimmer's phone rings and says, it's someone looking for a job. Everyone jumped to Wilks, which I thought was a real stretch, because you're not going to get fired immediately, calls within like 20 minutes. You're going to take your time a little bit more from that perspective. But there are some things that could certainly make some sense about Wilks and the Cowboys. Even though there are no real ties between Wilks and this staff, there is a particular job that I think Wilks could slot into nicely, and there aren't that many jobs that are currently open. We'll go more in depth on Wilks and the potential Cowboys and where this Zimmer staff fits on defense. But first, today's show is made possible by Roan. I want to look good, feel good, and then play good. And Roan helps me accomplish that. The male closet was due for a fairly radical reinvention. Roan has stepped up to the challenge with their commuter collection. It is the most breathable, comfortable, and truly versatile set of products known to man. They have products for every occasion. Talking about the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos, and blazers as well now. They look great as individual pieces and work seamlessly together. Roan's signature 4-way stretch fabric is breathable, flexible, and works wherever, from your commute to your work home to golf to maybe some drinks in the 19th hole. It's easy style. It's unparalleled confidence without all the hassle. Roan's commuter collection also features wrinkle release technology and is 100% machine washable, so looking good is easy. It's also got Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. For more wears between washes, you'll be feeling fresh and clean all day, so no lingering odors and no trips to the dry cleaner, etc. The commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/chatsports and use promo code chatsports to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you go to RHONE.com/chatsports and use code chatsports. Find your corner office comfort. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Now back to Wilks here. Does he want to replace Joe Whitt as the secondary passing game coordinator? He's done that role before. It'd be a good hire by Dallas, and there aren't that many jobs open right now. You know, Wilks has kind of been jumped around Arizona to Carolina, now to San Francisco. I could see a scenario in which he goes, I'm just going to take a year off, and I'll find my job again next offseason, you know, whether it's a DC role or maybe he gets the occasional head coaching interview too, because I think he might have had some more if the timing had been better, relatively speaking. But this is an open job. The Cowboys trying to replace Joe Whitt. The passing game coordinator role is open at this stage. If they want to fill it, Al Harris could always be promoted, by the way. Aden Durde's defensive line spot is open, and so is the assistant defensive line coach, Sharif Floyd. So if Wilks' job is not added, could always promote Al Harris. That's fine. I will make note in the general defensive staff search, the Cowboys were blocked from interviewing Andre Patterson, who was the Zim longtime defensive line coach in Minnesota. They're going to block the Commanders from interviewing Al Harris. The Giants are going to block you from interviewing Andre Patterson. That's how it tends to go. So you will need to find a defensive line coach. The other big option that has heavy ties to Zim in previous stops is actually Jay Hayes, who's right now the defensive coordinator for the Arlington Renegades. So would barely have to move, all things considered. So that is one I think to keep an eye for. He also briefly coached under Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. Surprising news here for you. The Cowboys report it's getting its ass kicked by the Commanders report here at Chat Sports. Now, look, they're a much smaller channel. We're still crushing them in everything else, but they have almost 1,000 more subs this month. I hate it. Hit that sub button for more free Cowboys YouTube videos right now. ESPN and Field Yates have posted a new NFL mock draft, a different name than some of the more common ones. Texas A&M linebacker Edgerrin Cooper, who I think is the top linebacker prospect this year. But do you want to take him in round one? Here's the argument from Field. Quote, inside linebacker is an area to address under new defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. Leighton Vander Esch in the final year of his deal and suffered a serious neck injury in 2023, and Cooper is the best in this class. What makes him so unique are his exceptional movement skills and pass rush upside. Cooper managed 8 sacks last season, including 3 against Alabama, in one of the best performances by a player all season. But Cooper also projects to have range and instincts to be more than just a proactive linebacker making plays towards the line of scrimmage. He'll prove he can drop in coverage and carry tight ends as well. I do think as a linebacker, Cooper fits what Mike Zimmer would prefer really well. If you're looking for someone to fill that kind of Anthony Barr role where he can do run support, can do some blitzing, and do coverage, Cooper stands out as a fit for me. His production was awesome this past year for A&M. 84 tackles, 17 TFLs, 8 sacks, only 2 pass breakups. I think there are a little bit more projection on the coverage side you might need there. And he's not the biggest player. And that's okay. You don't need to be the throwback 250-pound off-ball linebacker, the way the NFL used to operate from that perspective. It's not quite the same level at that stage anymore. But I do think if you want to take the linebacker in round one, I think Cooper is the best one out there. It's a matter of, do you want to take a linebacker in round one? More on this to come, but grade the ESPN Cowboys NFL mock draft pick of Edgerrin Cooper for me. A, B, C, D, or F in the comments section. I think there are several linebackers you could consider, and it's why Cooper's not going to have a true first-round grade for me. When I likely stack my board, I suspect he'll be, maybe in the 30s, so it really wouldn't be a huge reach, but I would bet there's probably a player at a position of need that's more impactful, like a tackle or something, that would have a higher grade. And I don't know if he's going to fall to you to round two. But guys like Junior Colson, just pretend it's Michigan State, and you guys are fine. Jeremiah Trotter, Peyton Wilson, who's, if you could just stay healthy, Cedric Gray, Tommy Eichenberg, Jalen Ford, Trevin Wallace, the UCLA and Notre Dame kids, who I don't have the pronunciation for me, so I'm not going to get them wrong. All those guys stand out as they'll be there on day two, and maybe you can go offensive line or different spot early and invest in the linebackers in the second round. I think you're going to take one, regardless unless you're breaking the bank for a Patrick Queen or something. I think you'll take one. I just don't know if you want to spend the off-ball linebacker pick in round one. It's kind of like taking a running back in round one. Now, some other notable prospects who were on the board. 3 offensive linemen stand out. Graham Barton, Jackson Powers Johnson was gone. J.C. Latham kind of slid a little bit, but I don't know if he can play on the left side. Amarius Mims, I think, can. Brian Thomas Jr., by the way, at 24. Receiver's not your biggest need. That'd be a nice value pick. And depending on what you do with Stephon Gilmore and Jordan Lewis, I wouldn't totally rule out Kool-Aid McKinstry or corner. Zim likes having corners, and McKinstry's, what he did at Alabama isn't that dissimilar from what Zimmer wants to do on defense.